The richest prize in the game has had its fair share of adventures over the years, and has found itself in some very weird situations. WWE has obviously always been home to some, let's say, unique characters, so the top belt in the company was always doomed to be butchered, altered, and or taken hostage by whichever oddball was holding the belt at any given moment. From colour changes and spinners to refrigeration and sustainability, the WWE/F title has well and truly been put through the ringer since its inception in 1963, and could probably use a bit of a lie down, or possibly even therapy. I'm Gareth from What Culture Wrestling, and here are 10 strange things WWE champions did with the belt. Number 10, changed it 4 times in one reign, Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan's victory over the Iron Sheik signposted an earth-shattering change in the global wrestling landscape. But with the presentation of the industry's new face came several attempts at a belt to match. Affectionately known as Big Green for 2 very obvious reasons, the first strap slung over Hogan's shoulder was nearly as big as him, but not in keeping with the sort of branding the company were looking for. Both versions of the second attempt were uninspired, but a strap the following year was iconic precisely because of a legendary feud created at the 3rd iteration of WrestleMania. Hogan had held the gold for 3 years ahead of taking on former friend Andre the Giant in the mammoth main event of the even bigger WrestleMania 3. But the prospect of Andre actually defeating him resulted in the company making a super-sized strap should he achieve the feat. But what of the 4th design? That was a rarer indulgence altogether, not seen on a WWE strap again until the company decided to flog The Fiend's new toy. Speaking of which, number 9 put his face on it, Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan famously claimed that he missed out on the George Foreman grill deal by 1 phone call. Though that may reek of the Hulkster's usual bullcrap, he had at least already mastered the necessary catchphrase. He loved the belt so much he put his face on it. According to Da Belt Guy on Reddit, from what we can tell, Hogan used this belt 3 times in 1 week period, before it disappeared altogether. One person said they vaguely recall Jack Tunney giving Hogan the belt on TV as a gift for his 2nd anniversary as champion. The belt was made by then WWF belt maker Reggie Parks, and the belt featured a picture of Hulk Hogan on it. Yep, his face, front and center, on a title. When asked about it, Reggie couldn't recall any of the circumstances surrounding the creation and reason for the belt, other than that it was replaced because Hogan didn't like how big the main plate was, and that it dug into him while wearing it. Number 8, put it in the fridge, CM Punk. Like so many other Chicago natives on the cool summer evening of July 17th, 2011, CM Punk got home from work and put his shopping in the fridge, before settling into a relaxing evening, not changing the world from his couch. You see, because he'd already done that bit at work. His instantly iconic match with John Cena was the stuff of legend, redefining the era and eventually the decade off the back of an equally weighted pipe bomb promo just weeks earlier. Raging against a machine he sought to reconfigure, Punk started his project by intentionally undermining the prestige of the top prize the second he got through his front door. The hilarious fact that Punk had gotten home before half of the audience was a reminder of just how close the Allstate Arena was to his beloved home base. That he'd normalized the belt so soon after stealing it away from McMahon by popping it in his fridge was just a brilliant bonus and equally legendary beat from an historic evening of madness. Number 7, changed the color of it, Ultimate Warrior. The Ultimate Warrior elected to put his own unique stamp on the organization's richest prize after dethroning Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 6. Foreshadowing the top title's bright future with his yellow Intercontinental Championship, the Warrior had white, blue, and purple variants of the industry's most treasured trinket, and while one would assume that would be to match his gear or feed into the story of a particular feud, the level of logic was far closer to one of his early blog posts. They just looked nuts. Like the brilliant lunatic himself, the colours enhanced the day-glow psychopathy of the Warrior gimmick and looked pretty darn cool if you ask me. Number 6, made it spin, John Cena. John Cena's spinning United States title was divisive in the extreme when he launched it in 2004. Fully circular to mirror the spinning rims on one of his muscle cars, the merchandise-motivated move was seen as a desecration of a sacred prize. Those that were moderately miffed about the secondary strap getting Cena'd were positively raging when his personalized WWE Championship was revealed. A spinning, bejeweled WWE logo didn't exactly reflect the prestige or history of the gold, but it was emblematic of its present and future, foreshadowing the customized plates that will be added to every single belt in existence under the WWE banner today. This served as the last act of Cena's coronation. The champ was here, and he wasn't going anywhere. Number 5 dragged it along the floor. Stone Cold Steve Austin. When Vince McMahon gave Kevin Kelly a resounding hell no in response to the question of whether or not he wanted Steve Austin to become WWE Champion at WrestleMania 14, he foreshadowed a feud that would propel the entire company back to the promised land and make both individuals richer than they'd ever been before. Austin loathed everything McMahon asked him to pretend to be. He refused to wear a suit, he refused to curb his foul language and beer drinking, and he refused to honor any history he wasn't making with the chairman's top prize. Dragging the title across the floor was a brand new visage for the champion and completely in keeping with Austin's character throughout a historic run. He wanted what it represented, but he had no time for the chintz or pomp and circumstance. Number 4 replaced it entirely. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold Steve Austin's Smoke and Skull belt was cool enough that the company built an entire storyline around it when the Rattlesnake returned to the apex of the organization at WrestleMania 15. Last seen as Vince McMahon screwed Austin out of the championship the prior September, the title had, in kayfabe at least, sat on McMahon's mantelpiece all that time. But was the chairman luxuriating in his ownership of the sacred strap more shoot than work? Quite possibly. The prize was devised entirely by Stone Cold Steve Austin without permission from his gaffer. Unhappy with the redesigned WWE Championship belt, not least because the sharp edges on the first version actually cut him up, he acted upon advice from Road Warrior Hawk and had a personalized belt made that McMahon only became aware of when Austin took it to television. It became a much-loved part of his original act and survived a second stint when Austin traded title wins with The Undertaker in 1999. Number 3 turned it upside down. The Miz. A W will always be an M upside down, so The Miz should always have this cute little addition to his act for the rest of his life. A lauded but temporary addition at the time, Miz's use of an inverted WWE logo became emblematic of his look for the remainder of his career after a 2010 championship victory. The unveiling of his customized belt came during a road to WrestleMania that saw him frozen out of his own main event program against John Cena. The Rock's recent return had lit a fire under the champ, but the pair had brushed past the A-lister so often in the build that only giant statements such as this got him back in the conversation. His time with the title would be short-lived from then on, despite his eventual and unlikely WrestleMania win. Miz unfortunately lost to Cena just 1 month later, but his use of the inverted logo extended to the branding of his gear, his Titantron, and even the Raw and SmackDown microphones he's taken plenty of time with since an impressive 2016 re-emergence in the upper echelon. Number 2 made it environmentally friendly. Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan's fury with the WWE fanbase for not adhering to planet-saving environmental procedures was already awesome before he trashed his leather and gold prize for a hemp-based alternative. A brave and inspired bit of character-based booking, WWE's decision to overhaul the company's top title so spectacularly paradoxically increased the value of it, as proven when the New Day unveiled the original after Kofi Kingston defeated Bryan in their evocative WrestleMania scrap. WWE, because of course they did, even merchandised the seemingly unsellable. Bryan's belt was reproduced for collectors and fans alike in a humorous contravention of everything the champion was rallying against. And it wasn't just the merch he was flogging. Shortly before depositing the actual strap in the bin, WWE cannily used Bryan's anti-meat eating character to promote the Royal Rumble Burger, a meat-filled treat available from the food kiosk at Phoenix, Arizona's Chase Field. And that burger in particular would have probably saved this final entry from needing to take his title out of the arena in the first place. Number 1, ordering some food. Dean Ambrose. Then WWE champion Dean Ambrose spent more of his time pissing about than many would have expected, not least with the Jon Moxley persona latterly exhibited in New Japan Pro Wrestling and AEW still lingering within him. Feuds with Dolph Ziggler and AJ Styles didn't particularly captivate, nor did a seriously awkward interview with Steve Austin that surely marked the lunatic fringe as a mid-carder for life in Vince McMahon's eyes. So in fitting with him pissing about more than many would have expected, such was the situation here. With New Orleans beads around his neck and WWE title slung over his shoulder, Ambrose perusing the menu as the industry's top title holder was a pretty cool look actually. Even if his character had played far too fast and loose with the audience's trust to see this sort of silly shenanigan as a mere one-off. Don't forget, this took place within months of Mitch the Plant and his piss week program with Brock Lesnar. Everything comes in trifectas. But nobody wanted a single dose of wackiness. Never mind 3. And that is our list. Know of any other strange things WWE champions did with the belt? Let us know all about them in the comments section below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Call yourself a bit of a combat sports fan, eh? Then why not head over to What Culture Combat for MMA, UFC, and boxing news/lists aplenty. I've been Gareth from What Culture Wrestling. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm sure I'm gonna see you soon.